Welcome to yet another episode here at StreetWise Economics, where blooming Umorem and I, Isaac Jonas, we discuss about what's going on in the market. Today, we are going to do a quick recap of what's happening in the market today, and we'll talk about some stocks that have been outstanding in the market, including Tesla, Palantir. And like we have been wishing, we'll talk about the cryptocurrency breaking the $100,000 mark and also economic data, because these are some of the things that cause the market volatility, including also the upcoming Fed meeting on 17th and 18th of December, and that is for the United States. And give a conclusion around our overview of what we think is happening in the market and how do we see the potential risks and also opportunities going forward. Now, I welcome Coach Blooming. It's always a pleasure having you, my friend, here. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent, buddy. I'm very excited to be here again.
Fantastic. So let's, you can see here on this chart on TradingView, it has been broadly, if I look at the indices, it has been green, because if I look at the Nasdaq, S&P 500, gold is also green. What does this tell us as investors? It means that, there have been more buyers than sellers. So in this case, this is a normal thing that happens. They are buyers, they are sellers. So in this case, it seems like people are bullish. But like in every other situation, there are some stocks that may be down. Like you can see here that Nvidia is down um, almost 2%. It's just a normal fluctuation. And again, the VIX is down. It's usually in opposite of the S&P 500, as we have spoken about on this podcast. But a lot of the tech firms like Tesla is up almost 2%. So my buddy here is getting richer and richer. She's a Tesla investor, and which is fantastic. I have people in my community who have invested in Palantir. It has been ripping up. Again, where there's a possibility of a profit, there's also a possibility of a loss. So the most important thing, at least in this investing journey for me, is that it is very, very important to manage risks. So we are going to talk more about that. But do you want to comment about this?
Yeah, I think it's been so
Sure.
2024 has been an exciting year. When we started this year, it was a little bit shaky, but seeing that the market is finally recovering, it's very, very optimistic as an investor. And we're just seeing that a lot of the tech stocks are now doing really well. Again, it's great, but I also think that 2025 is even going to be more exciting because we have a lot of things that are going to work in our favor, and I'm just really excited for that. So, again, it's important to know that as exciting as the stock or the crypto market is, it's important to be very knowledgeable about this. And the fact that we understand this, this is how we're able to play this game. And it's just exciting to see how the market is finally recovering.
That's fantastic. And like we always say on this podcast, we don't provide investment advice. You must always do your research, but don't forget to subscribe and also follow us on our various social media platforms. Coach Blooming and I, we help quite a number of people who come to us, so we are also coaches and practitioners in a way. So make sure you reach out to our respective websites if you want to book a session, and we will put some the websites for you to reach out. Now, what do you think about Tesla and Palantir? Because they continue to rip up the market, right?
Yeah.
And, my understanding of the market is that the market does not always go up. I am kind of like the kind of a person who says the greatness of an investor is, in my view, shown by how much they can withstand a downturn in the market. So if you have a
Mhm.
portfolio, if the market drops by 40, 50%, if it drops more than the S&P 500, then most likely you have a very, aggressively, lopsided portfolio, right? So what do you think about that? What do you see in
So,
Palantir and Tesla?
Yeah,
Going
so
forward.
even before I share my thought on Tesla and Palantir, I think it's important as every smart investor to know the kind of investor that you are.
Yes.
There are some investors, they are not able to withstand a 2% drop, a 5% drop, a 10%
Why
drop.
is that so, buddy?
The reason being that it's important to just know the kind of investor that you are because a lot of people just want to make fast money.
Oh, yes.
And once they put their money into maybe a stock or a coin, and they just expect their money to double or triple within a short period of time.
Magically.
Yeah, but investing comes with a risk of your capital can go up and it can also go down. So just being mentally prepared for that. And how do we even get prepared for that? By just making sure that you do your own homework. If you don't do your own homework and you just invest in a stock because somebody told you about it, when the stock dips maybe one or two or even 10 or even 20 or even 50%, you're gonna panic and you might even sell at the worst time.
And lose
So
money.
again, it's just important to know the kind of investor that you are before investing. And for
Yes.
Tesla or even Palantir or any stock in general, now we're excited that okay, Tesla is already over $370 per share, which this year was around $140. Again, it's interesting and exciting to talk about it now, but when it was in the 140s, 150s, 170, I bet nobody was really excited about it. And that's the game of investing, meaning that be prepared when the stock goes down and even when it reaps or just backs in the glory that, oh, finally my investment is finally growing. But either it's Palantir or even Tesla, it's just a no-brainer that be prepared and just do your own research. And that's just my take on that. So,
And again, this is not investment advice, and we are not recommending you to necessarily buy this stock. Do your own research. If you want to learn more, reach out to us respectively. Now, I'm going to say that I think what I've also observed, generally talking from experience, working with clients from different backgrounds, I think a lot of people I have spoken to and I work with, they don't understand the importance of an emergency fund. So that means the money that you can have just to stashed away in a checking account, whether it's 6 months or a year worth of living expenses. What that means is even if the market drops a year or 2 years, 40, 50%, as long as you are invested in fundamentally strong companies and things that you understand, right? For me, that's the reason why I don't panic because I like to have that. More importantly, when I'm investing, I never use a margin account. That means I never borrow money to invest because then the odds are stacked against you. So a lot of people, even if the market, the S&P 500 corrects, that means it drops by 10%. It means your loss would be amplified maybe by a factor of two, three, and it's not a nice thing to see your account 30, 40% down. So for me, I always tell people stay away from borrowing
leverage.
money to invest. For me, the
Yeah.
only time and with a lot of care I use the margin account is when I'm doing my trading, which is different. I
Mhm.
get in, get out. If I day trading, not even swing
Mhm.
trading, that means I don't even sleep with that money in there. And in that case, I have specific entry and exit points. That means I have predetermined loss and potential profit. So in that case, if it doesn't go, a trade doesn't go my way, I know like, okay, I'm gonna lose maybe for
Yeah,
$500. If it goes up, I'm gonna make maybe upside of 1,000 or whatever. So that's trading, and it's a different ball game. And I have some courses that Blooming and I we are working on to teach you
great.
how to trade, to be a profitable trader. A lot of people, by the way, they don't make money trading. 90% of most traders over the long term, despite having most profitable trades, they blow out their accounts because you just make one stupid mistake and the
And it's
account is
gone.
literally
Yeah,
gone. So
yeah.
risk management is key.
Mhm.
Now, with the exciting news that cryptocurrency, hit 100,000, I remember we wished that we would see this day. So congratulations to all cryptocurrency BS. By the way, in the interest of full disclosure, I sold my Bitcoin and Ethereum position. I have some speculative, crypto positions that I have. I'm big on equities. So I just want to be transparent about that. But I'm a person who likes to learn. I see what
Yeah.
is going on in the market. And coach, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah. So this week in crypto has been exciting. Number one, we saw Bitcoin reach an all-time high of over 100,000 US dollars. This was literally history in making. This is something that
Yes.
I've been looking forward to for the past God knows how long. But just seeing that moment just happen December 4th, again, it's just really, really amazing. And to the this is a testament to the resiliency of Bitcoin. It's a fine asset, it's a hard money, and this is one of the superior asset to just put money long term. Again, whatever I'm saying is not investment or financial advice,
Yeah.
but as I always say that I love to study the ultra wealthy and just copy what they do. And when I see BlackRock, Fidelity, Coinbase, MicroStrategy, all even we have a Bitcoin ETF, meaning that crypto is becoming an asset class that any smart investor will allocate, even if it's just
Small
1%,
percentage. Yeah.
2% into this category of asset. Because again, if we just study what the ultra wealthy are just doing and you just copy, you're going to be wealthy over time because wealth creation or even generation is just a
Mhm.
principle and it doesn't respect geography, location, your color, your age. It doesn't respect that, provided you just apply some principles that are universally acceptable. You're
And
gonna build wealth. Yeah,
you manage
yeah.
your risk, right?
You're
And I
gonna build wealth
yes,
over time. So again, what am I trying to say?
yeah.
Bitcoin has crossed that 100,000 threshold, and some people might still be saying, "Is it too late for me to get involved in this?" Do your own research. Meaning that for me personally, there's been a lot of research saying that Bitcoin can still go over 180,000, 200,000 by this time next year. Again, this is not financial
And
advice,
these are
but
just predictions, and we
yes,
have
this
said
up
it here
like
that nobody can really predict the market confidently because a
yes,
lot of things can happen, and especially with Bitcoin, it's a very speculative asset.
yes,
So for me,
but
I'm that kind of a person who is like, you know what? I'm gonna stay in equities that I understand
which
both.
is totally fine too.
Yes,
Yeah,
but the thing is like I have maybe a small amount that I put in like some meme coins, like and
yes,
that's my play, and it's like money that I'm really okay to
really,
lose. So
yes.
that's how
Like
I approach Bitcoin
yeah, like
and
in
crypto.
terms of just allocating some percentage into crypto, I always like to say that Bitcoin, Ethereum, those are the ones that you know that they are here to actually stay, and maybe even Bitcoin. Because why? Every other crypto, 99.9% of every other crypto is going to still go to zero because it doesn't have any intrinsic value. I'm
Yes,
going to say that it's very exciting to play in crypto, maybe have some allocation of your wealth into meme coins, but it's important to understand that this meme coin can go to the moon. It can also go to zero. Speaking
yes.
of that, we saw the incident that happened with oh
Auction.
Lord, please just Hawk Twa or
Yeah,
whatever she calls the name, Haley Welsh or something.
yes.
She literally rock pulled on people, meaning that she created this meme coin, and this meme coin went up to $500 million in market cap. And within minutes, this went down to less than maybe 30 million or even 40 or 50
People
million
lost
dollars
millions.
within minutes. So again, it's important to know that yes, crypto is exciting, but you can also lose your money. If you don't want to lose your, maybe you just put it in Bitcoin ETFs or put it into Ethereum ETF. But
Or
again,
equities, or
yeah,
cash, or
or
other
I
fixed
mean,
deposits. Yeah.
personally, I won't even just build wealth in cash. The
Yes.
reason being that people that build wealth using fiat or cash,
Yes.
we just call them the poor. I'm
Yeah,
going to say, like,
yeah, and
I'm
there's
literally,
inflation, right, as
yes,
well. So that's,
because,
but
yeah,
my point was like, buddy, sorry to interject, was
mm-hmm,
I think the point is like to at least park it there whilst you are researching,
Learning or yes,
understanding, rather than
yes,
just jumping into something before you
jumping.
fully understand it, because you then do that. Even another concept that I'm also learning and applying to my trading is that I want to trade and think like big institutions. And big institutions, they manage risk, and they are not, from my experience, they
Mhm.
they don't they are not very aggressive. In any case, they do like hedged portfolios, and if they make 3%, 5% in a month or so, it's 5% for a big account, right? So it's still a lot, right? If you are
Yes,
looking at Wall Street standards. So a lot of people, they think like it's gonna go to the moon. It can possibly go, but for me, I like to look at the downside more before
yeah.
I even think of the upside. That way, if I can stomach it, then I
Yeah.
take that.
Again, I'm going to say that the fact that Bitcoin is now over $100,000
Yes.
and this is still going to reach $1 million. A lot of
Potentially.
people will not believe this. It
Mhm.
might be up to maybe 2030, 2032, 2035.
Yeah.
But when I see, I mean, BlackRock just started accumulating Bitcoin this year. Now their portfolio is in the billions. And when BlackRock comes into a space, they are there to make money. Like they are not there to come and lose money. I honestly believe that. And any smart investor, I'm going to keep saying this over and over, don't don't build wealth in cash. Don't build wealth in fiat. Because why? If you store it in fiat or in cash, you're gonna keep losing the purchasing power over time. But as a smart investor, you put it into Bitcoin. This is a hard money. Hard, meaning the supply is fixed. And if supply is fixed at 21 million, the demand keeps going up. Basic economics, this is going to keep going up, the price.
All
And a
things
lot of
constant.
people, a lot of people judge Bitcoin by the volatility, by just the
Yes.
price. But that is not the way that I look at Bitcoin
Yeah.
because this is a technology, is a protocol that nobody controls. This is decentralized. This is freedom that anybody globally can participate in. So like a lot of people when they come into Bitcoin or into crypto in general, they want to play in memes. And I'm like, yes, it's good to play in memes, but don't ignore the main course, the main date, because memes are exciting. I have some allocation into memes,
That's
but this
me.
is money I have prepared mentally to lose.
Yeah.
But I also have some allocation into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other strong coins. So what am I just trying to say? The 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 future for Bitcoin or even crypto is very exciting. Don't judge Bitcoin by the volatility because the fact that we have Bitcoin $100,000, this was a dream several years back. And now I'm saying that this is still going to go to $1 million. It looks
Mhm.
like a dream and it's going to happen. And by the time it happens, we're going to be like, wow, this is actually here
Let,
again.
let, let,
But
let me
yeah,
play, let me poke a little, some holes
yes.
there, but on your thesis. So, I
Hmm.
mean, potentially it can go to 1 million, right? But
Yes.
they equally, like any other asset class, it can potentially go down to zero, right? I think we have
Bitcoin can go down to
always
zero again. Because
potentially.
why?
Mhm.
Nations, countries. We saw what's his name? El
Appointment,
Salvador.
yeah, of
Um
David Sachs as
like like
well in
like
the
like
incoming Trump
El
administration.
El Salvador as a nation
Mhm.
hold Bitcoin. Number two, I was listening to again, this is not to say that politics is everything, but just saying Putin saying that nobody can control Bitcoin. Because once you understand that this is decentralized, this is just a code. This is not something that a bank or a group of people can just control. No, it's not possible. It's a game changer. The moment you understand it, that this cannot go to zero again. Back in the days, maybe when Bitcoin was still $10, $200, now it's $100,000, and institutions are now in the space. It's not just the retail investors alone. Again, a lot of people will still be skeptics in terms of the possibility that Bitcoin will go to over $1 million. But
Mhm.
I'm telling you that the fact that institutions are here, nations, even the incoming
Mhm.
president is saying that we're going to have a Bitcoin strategic reserve. My dear, it's a game changer because every nation will come to see that I need to own this. The supply is fixed.
Yes.
Like again,
I agree with you, and I think they also appointed David Sachs,
yes,
who
David
is
Sack, yes,
a co-host for the All In podcast. But I mean, we want to
yes,
move to the next item,
yes,
but I just wanted to emphasize that I think what I'm taking from what we are discussing here, if you can also feel free to correct me if my
yeah,
interpretation is wrong, Blooming, to say a smart investor must always have, a very optimal allocation of assets, like strategically.
yeah,
So for me, I like to have very little allocation to cryptocurrency because I believe it's very volatile. My risk tolerance is low, but I'm big on equities. But I also like to keep some cash in case the market pulls back, have an emergency fund. But also,
yes,
more importantly, even in that case, I like to have a hedged portfolio. So you have cash, you have
equities,
equities. Some people can even
emergency
go to
fund,
agricultural commodities. Some people can
right?
also hedge currencies. Like for me, some of my savings, I like to keep them in US dollars. And you know what's happening between the US and
And
Canadian dollar, right?
yes,
So this is just a way of kind of like making sure that you have your wealth in different asset classes because in some cases, these asset classes they go in different cycles. In some cases, others will be booming, others will
mm-hmm.
be
Going,
going down. So
yeah,
on average, then you can have a good or optimal return. If you want
yeah,
to comment, you can
yeah.
comment on
Like,
crypto as a conclusion, and then we can move on to
yes.
economic data coach.
I think it's just the same way that I said before, that it's important to understand the type of investor that you are. A lot of investors, if you just know that, okay, I'm not going to be able to sleep if I have some allocation into crypto, then it's okay. Some people will never play in stocks. Some people will
Yes,
never play in crypto, but they are great at real estate.
yes.
Like they just like, no, I just understand this is something I can feel, I can touch, and I play better there. It's okay. So again, in as much as I'm personally excited about crypto, Bitcoin, equities, this is just because I understand it and I'm naturally excited
You have
because
done
of the
some research as
possibility.
well.
Yes, I've spent ungodly hours just studying the space, and that's where my research and my confidence comes from. But for somebody that has not done that research, I'm telling you the conviction is not going to be there. Again, Bitcoin or cryptocurrency is here to stay, and it's not for the faint-hearted. But every smart investor would have at least have some allocation into crypto or even Bitcoin in general.
Fantastic. And as we move on to the next session, if you haven't subscribed to this podcast and also even Coach Blooming's YouTube channel, which I will share on the comments section, please make sure you do so so that this message can go far and wide. Now, in terms of the economic data, the way that I look at economic data is like it can possibly result in market volatility. So I like to pay particular attention to the economic data. So you can
Mhm.
see that this week has been there's been a lot of data that you can see here. But in summary, what does this mean, right? When you have the US S&P Global US manufacturing being less than 50, it means it contracted, right? So
Right, yeah.
slightly, and these are normal fluctuations in my view because some months the businesses can grow and in some months they don't. But overall, when you look at the whole year in aggregate, in terms of the macro economy, the US economy has been very, very strong. But still, the manufacturing sector, ISM manufacturing, it expanded, albeit slower. It dropped if you compare to the last time the data was dropped. So
Mhm.
why am I saying this? The job numbers here, they came lower than expected, but still even lower than last time. So these are things that are really happening, but I think for me, the market would price in what the incoming administration in the US is doing, right? In terms of the appointments and all this. And this upward movement in the market, I think it has been partly driven by some appointments, key appointments, and as a result, we will see what the data will tell us. But another important thing is that the Bank of Canada will make a rate decision, right? That will be next week. Um, you can see here, but also there are also the Federal Open Market Committee meeting, I think on the 17th and 18th, right? So that they will decide whether they are going to increase interest rates. So this is for next week. But I think at the end of the day, as we wrap up here, the most important thing is in all this, what do we see in terms of what the economy in the US is going, where it is going. But in so doing, I want to stress that the economy and the stock market, they are different, right? The stock market, we are just talking about the publicly listed companies, which is a fraction of the whole economy, because remember, there's the private sector and all these other sectors. But generally, the stock market has been one of the predictors of how well the economy is doing. But there are other indicators, unemployment, you look at, other factors that can generally, at a macroeconomic level, at an aggregate level, tell us the health of the economy in general. So what do you see next year? This is now the end of the year. It's not a
Yeah.
prediction, it's not a forecasting, but we are just looking at what the data, what story does it tell us,
Mhm.
coach, in terms of the equities market. I know you have said that, you believe, do you still believe that we're gonna have a very strong finish?
Yeah.
I saw a report by
Mhm.
this guy on social media. I think it's Adam Cole. He's a very credible person in my
Yeah.
view because he's an investor. He was saying that the S&P 500 usually, statistically, it has been shown that most of the time it at the third year, if it has been bullish, it has been shown, I think
Mhm.
70 out of 100 times to like go down. But this
Mhm.
is, the past. But at the end
Right.
of the day, potentially the market next year might drop, right?
Mhm.
But still,
So,
there's a possibility that it can continue to go up. So how are we allocating our portfolios?
right. So for me, I still strongly believe that we're gonna wrap 2024 up strong. Leading into 2025, 2025 is even going to be a stronger year
Mhm.
because of all the catalysts that are working in our favor. We have a pro crypto or pro Bitcoin new administration that is coming in. And this alone, because when we have capitalists or business leaders in
Mhm.
leadership, they understand the economy. I honestly believe that that is a good tailwind for the market in general because they understand how to allocate capital efficiently. The fact that we're seeing all the indices, the Dow, the S&P 500, and the Nasdaq in the green after the whole election was over, again, that just means that a lot of capital has been sitting on the sideline because there's been a lot of uncertainties in the market. But the moment that was off, we saw how the market has been rallying. Again, in as much as I'm saying that, it doesn't mean that the market might not correct. There might be some correction. But
And that's
overall,
normal.
yeah, overall, I strongly believe that 2025 is going to be an amazing year. I see that the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, the Dow, they're going to even be higher than what it is today. So that's just my own personal take. And what am I doing with my portfolio? I'm still DCing over, into all of my strong positions. So, and for crypto, again, crypto is going to be exciting in 2025. I'm just looking forward to it, and I'm just really excited about it. And as always,
Coach, I wanted to
don't
say something.
okay, yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to say, I mean, in terms of how I'm allocating my portfolio, is
Mm-hmm.
I have a bit of a cash, but I'm trading a bit of that cash to kind of get a return on it. But
Mm-hmm.
in terms of my equities position, I haven't been adding, but I'm looking at other undervalued companies to potentially investing. I am a
Mm-hmm.
little bit nervous that, the market has really
It's
rallied,
really gone up.
so
Yeah.
there might be some correction. When that will happen, I don't know. I also see quite a number of potential risks, even in the incoming administration of inflation.
Yes.
And that could potentially mean if the Federal Reserve Open Market Committee then decide to uh,
So,
pivot, to
mm-hmm.
increase rates, the market might overreact. So I see a lot of volatility. Again, this is not a prediction. I cannot predict, but what I'm just saying is I'm positioning my portfolio
Yourself. Yeah.
in that regard. If the market continues to go up, my positions in the equities market, right,
Mm-hmm.
will continue to go up with the market, but I also have a hedged portfolio in case there's a correction.
Correction. Yeah.
Another important thing that I'm also learning is that I want to think and look at the long term. So what that means is in the short term, what I'm doing right now, I want to allocate capital. I'm researching about wonderful businesses to potentially invest in, but I'm also mindful of the potential risks because investing comes with a lot of risks, right? So you must
Right.
always do your own due diligence. Coach, you wanna say
Yeah.
it?
So for me personally, the way that I see this is I keep this in over time into strong portfolios, into strong stocks, and also coins. But irrespective of that, there was a quote that I read from Peter, I think it was Peter Lynch, saying that a lot of money is being lost by waiting for a correction.
Yes.
So like as I said before that there was a quote that I read from Peter Lynch saying that a lot of money is lost by waiting for a correction than the actual correction. So what am I doing personally? I don't know the direction of the market in the short term. I'm such a long-term investor that whatever money that I'm putting into my investment, I don't need the money for the next 5, 10, 15 years, and I just put it. Meaning that even when the market dips and I have some cash, I just keep buying. But it doesn't stop me from still investing because the more that I wait for the perfect opportunity to buy into a stock or into a coin, again, time might just go or just go against me, just waiting for the perfect time to just buy a stock or coin. So what am I doing personally? I just keep this saying over time. Then even apart from that, as I wrap up, the parting thing that I'm going to say is that people who store their wealth in cash, again, we call them the poor because this is the stark reality because a lot of people might not feel comfortable hearing this. But if you just study the ultra wealthy, they don't store their wealth in cash or in fiat. They store it in assets that appreciate over time. And as a smart investor, I just prefer to invest my money into asset that keeps appreciating over time and keeps working for me. And it's so simple. Either it's in equities or in stocks or equity or in crypto is just me allocating capital that can keep working for me 24/7. So may the market always be in our favor.
Thank you so much, Coach, for that parting shot. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. And thank you so much for watching this podcast up to this end. We will see you next week and take care and we will talk soon.